everyone, Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So we are back here on the test server for the next Splinter in our Riftwatchers breakdown, and it will be the second to last video you see in this format. And we're going to be covering the Death Splinter. Later on today, you will see a combined video for Dragon and Neutral. Excited to finish up this series. I hope it's been helpful, sort of walking through the new cards so you can start strategizing, which cards are you going to want to add to your deck? Are there any cards out there right now that's going to work really well with some of these that you can go pick up? So I think it's important to start breaking these down as quickly as possible. With that said, before we get into the death cards, I am Hawks21. I cover Splinterlands on the channel almost every single day. I am also on Twitter and Discord. You can find the links for both down below. And if you're new to the YouTube community and enjoy my content, it would be awesome if you can like and subscribe. I'm starting to look at some data, and a lot of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So if you're one of them, it takes you 2 seconds, but it means the world to me. So it'd be awesome if you could take a second to do that. All right, let's get into it. Night Ghoul, we've talked about before. This was one of the cards they pre-released in the eye candy section during one of the town halls. And this card, we already talked about it. It's good at every single level. Even before it gets the force field, right? So I'm seeing more and more creators talk about how at Bronze and Silver they're going to increase the mana game options. You're going to see more games with higher mana caps. So this card is going to become more useful because I know a lot of people have said, yeah, this card looks great, but I'm just not going to be able to play it a lot at Bronze and Silver. Well, hopefully that will be changing soon. We got tons of shield, good health, 4 attack, and rage right away. So now all of a sudden you're talking 6 damage and 5 speed at Bronze. So that's nuts. This is probably the most well-rounded card in the sense that I think very playable at every single level, and it just keeps getting, slightly better and better. And part of it is because it's a common, right? It's not the best card, but I think it's going to be the most playable in every single league. And I think for being a common, it sort of punches above its common belt, right? If that makes sense. Okay, so Silver, again, it just keeps getting a little better, more defensive, more stats that your opponent needs to go through. And now with the Enrage, right, you're still at 5 speed, but now you're talking 8 damage. That's nuts. And this is before, it's not a ton of force field right away. And speaking of which, we get that here at gold at level 6. Let's go to level 8 because that's the max for gold. So it gets a little faster and it picks up the force field. So again, now it becomes even more difficult. It gets a little faster. So now, again, 8 damage, 6 speed when it's enraged. And the force field. So this is going to be a difficult monster to take down. If you have, if it's a high mana game and you're playing this up front and your opponent brings a ton of big damage, it's going to be really, really, really difficult to get through the Night Ghoul. I love the addition of force field to this card. Just imagine a Night Ghoul versus Night Ghoul matchup, and they're both just, enraged and just hitting each other for 1 every single time. That would be funny. I'm sure it's going to happen. And if I can get a match like that, I'll definitely make a video to show you guys. So also, this is just a great public service announcement for the Carnage Titan. The double strike 4 attack is going to do wonders getting through a card like this. The Carnage Titan to me is one of the better cards in the entire game because of that double strike with the 4. So you're able to do 8 damage on a single turn without having to worry about force field. And force field is clearly going to become a major player. So if you don't have a Carnage Titan yet and you don't have it leveled up, highly suggest thinking about picking that up, assuming you have a usable Dragon Splinter. Yeah, then just the top levels, same, nothing really to talk about new here. There's no new dynamic. It just gets better at what it does, right? Now you're talking 9 attack. That's insane with the Enrage. And just tons of health to be enraged with, right? it's not great if this card has 6 health with Enrage, because it doesn't have a lot of health to be enraged with. I'm very excited for this card. One of my favorites, specifically for it being a common. We just talked a lot about a card that we already knew about, but it shows you how much I love it. Arcanine Thug. So this card's very interesting. Let's start again here. This is kind of basic reach monster here in bronze, like pretty good. Actually, let's compare it to, you all know, I forget the name, but you all know what card I'm about to compare it to. Or is it the Shadow Snitch? So bronze, oh, okay, interesting. So bronze level here is only 1 attack. So 1, 2, 6. Here you're talking 3, 3, 3, 5. So okay, so this is way better. Obviously the other card's playable in Little League, but early on this card is significantly better than the Shadow Snitch. I don't really like this card. I haven't found great use for it. The damage is okay speed, the dodge is nice, but 7 health, I just haven't loved it. It's good in Little League. I played it in Little League, that's basically the only time. But I've kind of been hoping for a death reach monster that wasn't Gorgolodon. I love Gorgolodon, but he's just not playable in every single type of rule set and mana size. And I just don't love the Shadow Snitch. So this seems like a beefed up version of the Shadow Snitch. It's trample, which is cool. It's kind of niche for a reach with trample. I know there's at least one. I know the Oaken Behemoth and Earth has it. But when it works, it's going to work well. Just getting that second attack if it eliminates a monster is always a good thing. It gets to gold. It just gets a little more health. Same thing, just very solid card. Then highest level gets a 4th attack and a knockout. I'm definitely going to want this card. It's nothing crazy. I think it's just going to be a nice, if you have a 6 mana gap in your team and you want to toss out a reach monster, this is going to be a really, really, really quality option for 6 mana. I think it's worth the 6 mana. I think that's a good cost for it. Death has some stuns. What does it have for fast stunners? The Revealer, slow. The Magi Necrosi with the Snipe won't be attacking in the same spot a lot, but the Soulstorm at the highest levels gets a stun, so 5 speed. I think it says 4 speed. So that's a play right there, right? You could do a Soulstorm, do stun, then all of a sudden it's going to be doing 8 damage with the knockout, which most likely, assuming that your opponent doesn't have shield, or hopefully the Soulstorm with its 4 attack was able to get rid of all the shield, and that could potentially, 8 damage, eliminate into a trample, which would only do 4 damage in the second attack, but still, triggering that trample is going to add a lot to this card's value. So I like this card. Again, nothing crazy. I think it's going to go under the radar, but I think it's going to be a very, very, very useful card. I'm excited to own it. Okay, let's go back here. Kabbalist. I haven't really seen this card yet. So, okay, we're in rares now, so this is the max in bronze. Okay, getting an Amplify is good. I like the magic damage. This setup here, the 2, 3, 5, isn't great for 7 mana, but getting Amplify right away is great. Specifically at the lower levels when you're talking Curse Wind Deku, right? Getting that up to 3 with a monster that can do 2 magic damage as well is going to be useful. So yeah, I like this card. I think it's going to be, if you get some higher mana games and you play Death, it'll be a good card to team up with the Windeku. You get to 4. Oh, interesting. It gets the Giant Killer pretty early. That just makes this card better. Comes up against the Giant, gets that 3rd attack. Starting to like this card more and more as we go up the levels. Then gold here. It's Demoralize. Demoralize is okay. Actually, let's look at something here real quick. If you go to more, it's only the Harclaw in Modern. I would have assumed there's more than that. Interesting. I thought there was more than that. But you know, if you're expecting melee, you could double demoralize, put the Harclaw in front with the shield ability. So there's ways you can play this, but I think it's just a nice add-on ability. It's not something, you know, I guess I would say I'm not going to play this card for the demoralize, but I'm happy it has it. Then highest levels picks up another speed, and for attack, I really like this card at the highest level specifically, doing the 4 damage. It's susceptible to Magic Reflect, obviously, but let's just take a peek here. What do we have for Thorns? Can't spell. Ooh, so the Ever-Hungry Skull is going to be interesting with it at the highest levels. Has Thorns and Return Fire. If you're talking an Equalizer rule set and you toss this out, that's going to give a lot of opportunity for the Amplify to come into play. And then obviously we talked about the Windeku with the Thorns heal slow. So the Thorns is going to be a big boost. I actually forgot to hit neutral as well. You know, and obviously the Onyx Sentinel is going to be great with the Thorns and Return Fire. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of options here. And I think previously, yeah, so similar types of cards here. I'll just quickly do the, you know, the Jin Mirat. Ooh, this is going to be a good matchup with Ouster too. Let's quickly look at like what cards in Death give you Amplify. So only the Wielding Warrior, right? So, and these two, but these are all small mana cards that don't do a lot of damage. And again, that's been a theme, right? Some support abilities like Amplify in a card that can do a lot of damage. So when you get a 99 mana cap game, when you get a 60, a 50 mana cap game, you want to use Amplify, you're going to have an option now where you're not going to be sacrificing a ton of attack. So I really like this card. This is a great card. It's a great support card that can do a little damage. And obviously the Giant Killer is great when it's going to be used. Okay. Scroll back down. The Queen of Crows. This art looks sick. I really like this art. Okay, right away. I guess, hold on. Level 2, it just gets another health. Don't love it here. Yeah, definitely don't love it. I mean, I get it. So you could play this in the second or even third position, right? You could go good tank, reach monster, then this monster is like a third tank almost because it can attack from the front with the close range. So I get it. Just for 9 mana, it seems like a heavy cost for a pretty meh card. Yeah, it would need to, you'd only be playing this in like a 99 mana cap game. I think there's just better options and stuff you can put out there. You know, back to basics rule set. This is going to be great. You know, it'll lose this, but you can put it, you know, third or fourth position. It gets to the front, and that'll be another 12 damage your opponent has to go through. So there's going to be uses for this card. It's just such a high health thing that, you know, people are going to play it. Go to gold. It picks up headwinds. Sorry, I keep doing this, but with Death, there's just so many. Like, it gets its value from being able to nerf things. That I want to see how you can stack them. So Riftwing I knew had headwinds. And then, oh, Soulstorm also has it. So this is the second time Soulstorms pop up. Headwinds and stun. Because you could set up a situation, right? Where, okay, yeah, think about this. No magic rule set. You toss out Riftwing, so headwinds. Soulstorm, headwinds. Queen of Crows, headwinds. Nerf the archery 3 times. And then you can prepare for, you know, a melee play. So you can have a sneak defense ready, or even bring some sort of demoralize, right? You know, this is going to stack really well with other headwinds cards. So it's going to give you a good range defense. I feel like we've seen a lot of headwinds, actually. Let's just continue through. Picked up the slow, which is great. I'm never going to complain about speed manipulation, so it just gets a little better. Then gets a third attack and return fire. So again, first of all, I guess, what is this? What was that last card called? The Kabbalist? Yeah, the Kabbalist with the Amplify. This is a great card to use with that. And then also, right, I just talked about a no magic rule set. You toss this out in a no magic rule set, and now has the return fire and the headwinds. This is going to be a really great card in that context. So yeah, I think this card is fine. I think it's going to have its uses. Early on, not a big fan, but as it picks up these abilities, again, I'm thinking no magic rule sets. It's going to play really, really well. And you can combine the headwinds. It's a nice anti-range play. So yeah, I'm a fan. I think it's a good card. I'm going to want it. So quickly, I know I haven't talked about the other summoners, but I want to touch on this for a second. Cripple has been fixed. So you can now no longer cleanse Cripple. So not only can you not get the double heal from cleansing Cripple, like they didn't just eliminate that, they eliminated the entire ability to cleanse Cripple. I came across it today in a match where I kept getting crippled and I couldn't, cleanse it, and it was wiping out some of my healing ability, and it was really annoying. I don't know how widespread you're going to be able to strategize everyone having cripple, but I will say, if you remember my summoner rankings, I had Dallin last, and I was pretty adamant about it. I'm not going back on what I said, but I'm just saying I'm nervous I might be wrong. I still haven't fully wrapped my head around utilizing cripple in a meaningful way outside of, again, if you're dealing with a shield bearer, being able to cripple that over and over and over and over again is obviously useful. So in that context, it's great. But just in general, I don't see myself strategizing around cripple a lot, but I'm worried I might be wrong. So I just want to put that on record, that I'm starting to second guess my low ranking of Dallin. Okay. Again, not going to spend a lot of time. There's no direct real synergies here besides Ra with the double strike, which is helpful. So if we go to stats here, sorry, my phone was buzzing a little bit. Had to take care of that. Interesting. So I've actually seen gameplay of this card on Twitter. So the big question is always, with the double strike and the scatter shot, does a scatter shot happen first where it picks a random opponent and then that opponent gets hit twice? Or is it two random attacks? And I can tell you, at least from the video I've seen, again, unless they adjust this or something, it is going to be two completely random attacks. So the first archery damage will go out to, the third position, and the next one will go to the fifth position. So you're just not going to know where it's going to go. I mean, 12 is a lot for this. It has the flying, which is nice. It's like reverse speed with the flying I like, but I think this card's going to be fun, and when you can get it to work, it's going to be really, really, really fun. But I think it's just going to be hard to find ways to use this card effectively. It's not like it has a lot of health or defense either. Let's see what it turns into. Giant Killer's nice. So, we've obviously got more giants now that can hide in the back line. So on the chance that one of these hits it, having that be doubled, and I guess you could hit it twice in a row. You'd have to get lucky. But Giant Killer's nice in this context. I think Rust is a good addition because, again, you don't want this card hitting a bunch of shields. It doesn't have piercing. So eliminating shield is always great. I love the Rust ability. And then it picks up a fourth. So I could see myself playing this card in really high mana matches. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be fun. That's the thing, right? I don't want to call this card bad because it's going to be really fun. And when it works, it's going to work really, really well. It's just going to be risky to play. It's going to be risky to spend 12 mana on a card like this. Again, the flying's nice, so if you come up against a flyer, that could be trouble. I mean, that could have been trouble given the 2 speed, but it'll cancel out the flying. But the low speed, you know, you could be missing monsters in the back line. I guess I could play it with the kitty, right, for the True Strike. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to see more of this card being played. I could see it being really, really great, but it's not going to be a card that you like build your lineup around. I don't think it's that good. I think it's a card that if you can put in your lineup and sort of protect it and have other options, it has a ton of upside match to match. I think that's a good way of putting it, right? Like the risk reward of playing this card is the distribution of events is super, super wide. You don't really know what's going to happen. And the 8 health isn't that great. So yeah, it's a very interesting, fun card. I don't really know what to say. I'm going to have to see more use cases of it. It's hard to sort of visualize how a card like this is going to work. I think it's a very interesting concept, and I'm excited to test it out. I guess I'll leave it at that. So we'll go back here, and that was Death. I think a lot of interesting cards. Again, spent a lot of time in the Night Ghoul. Think it's great. This is a great addition. I'm excited for this card. Just so solid. This might be my favorite card. No, sorry, the Night Ghoul is. I was taking that as a just acceptable thing. But outside of the Night Ghoul, this might be my favorite card that I'm excited to use the most. I think the Amplify has a lot of use cases with good amount of damage. And then Queen of Crows, specifically no magic rule sets. This card's going to be very, very powerful. You know, it's good that it's not a giant, and it's going to have some use cases. It's definitely a card I want to add to my deck. Okay, so this was the second to last one. This covered Death. Later on today, you will see a combined video that I'm assuming will be a bit longer with both Dragon and Neutral. So stay tuned for that. Again, if you are new to my YouTube community, it would be awesome if you could take a second to like and subscribe. All right, I hope you're enjoying it. We are about a week away, I think a little under a week by the time you watch this, away from the release of Riftwatchers. And I am super, super excited. I'm going to be opening at least 100 packs right away. I'm tempted to do my first live stream. It doesn't mean I'm going to show my face. That's not going to happen. But if I can figure out how to live stream on YouTube, I'm going to keep everything housed in YouTube. I don't want to go start doing stuff on Twitch as well. I'd rather just focus and build up this community here. But I'm thinking on YouTube, I might see if I can live stream that first 100 packs. But no promises. We'll see. I got to figure out the tech. All right. I will talk to you guys soon and see you around the game.